It's interesting because we're looking at potentially 4 major candidates now for this position. We've mentioned Ash Regan and Anna Sarwar. Now, they're 2 opposite sides of the party, really. Ash, someone who resigned over that gender reform bill, seen as more socially conservative. Anna Sarwar, seen as more socially liberal. But also we've got Angus Robertson and Kate Forbes. Now, Kate Forbes had the good fortune, perhaps, of being on maternity leave during all of this, but she abstained by virtue of that on the gender bill. She seemed to be more critical of it. She's an evangelical Christian. She's made anti-abortion comments in the past. This is someone who perhaps is on that socially conservative side as well. Whereas Angus Robertson, someone perhaps closer to the Sturgeon worldview. Are we really seeing in these 4 candidates now 2 social liberals and 2 social conservatives?
That seems to be where some of the division is coming about. And, you know, it's possible that we could be slightly overstating some of this. But this particular gender recognition bill has really exposed some of those issues. And whatever one may think about the particular issue at hand, I think that what it did show was that when the UK government, both on this question and also on the question of independence referendum, stood up and said no, actually made a case for the UK, support for the UK and Scotland went up. And I think this has been a terrible error of devolutionists in the round, is the sense of, well, the way that we stand up for the UK is for the UK to take a step back. And that is what Vernon Bogdanor calls devolving and forgetting. But we mustn't. The UK government should be active and part of life in Scotland.
Yes, and I think that's why it's important for us to discuss these issues, although they only affect one part of the United Kingdom. Of course, there are knock-on implications for everyone right across the land. I think I should make a correction. I think I said the words Anna Sarwar when I meant Hamza Yousaf just there.
Yes.
In the last... He's, of course, the Health Secretary, and there is the Labour Party leader in Scotland. But just in the round now, in terms of what this election campaign will look like, we've seen, of course, in the Conservative Party, a very fractious campaign over the last summer really affected the poll ratings of that party. Blue on blue hurt the Tory cause. Similarly, in 2015, the Labour Party leadership election, it was very introspective, very internal, talking to itself. There was indeed a lot of red on red. Might we now in Scotland be seeing some yellow on yellow?
I think definitely. You know, Nicola Sturgeon, even though her popularity had dipped a bit, remained the most significant and popular figure in Scottish politics. And because of that, she was able to kind of hold this coalition together. There doesn't seem to be the same kind of cross-party loyalty to any of the single candidates. And that is a risk. That means that perhaps some people who don't care so much about independence might move back to Labour. It might mean that some people who really care about independence might move to the Alba Party, led by Alex Salmond, if they don't like the sense that it's being led by a social liberal or what have you. And that, I think, particularly in the first-past-the-post context of a Westminster election, could be very serious for the SNP. And we could see the independence vote actually split between the SNP and Alba, and Labour could come through the middle in many of these seats.